Spooky dolls don't really do it for me. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Annabelle. This is a donation reward for Venom, so thank you to Venom for donating. And yeah, this is the second in the Conjuring franchise, which I have only seen the first movie to. And I've only seen the first movie to it via a reaction on this channel. Like a few months back or so. I don't remember exactly when. Was it? It might have been Halloween. It might have been Halloween time. Either way, that was my first time seeing The Conjuring. And now I get to see the sequel, Annabelle. Now, Annabelle the doll was mentioned in the first movie, even shown, even had a little role to play, but was not the focus of the film. The focus was on the house and the demon within and everything. So this movie's gonna focus on Annabelle, and this movie I think is probably a prequel to the first Conjuring. It's probably gonna show how they got their hands on Annabelle in the first place and everything. The couple, the ghost hunting couple, probably gonna show how they got their hands on Annabelle and everything that like kind of went into that. Um, that would be my guess. I don't really know anything about how the scares work in this. Creepy dolls don't really, as I mentioned the cold open, don't really do it for me. I don't really find them that scary. It's just like they're there, okay. And I don't really see how they're going to be used in a movie like this for horror. Like, because if you're going to try to jump scare me with a doll, it's like, yay. You got to have something more than that. A doll, like, changing places or moving around is not going to scare me either. So, I just, I hope that this does something more than that typical evil possessed doll shit that you usually see. Because that's just so boring at this point. But the first movie was okay, nothing special. Um, Patrick Wilson was good in it, but Patrick Wilson's usually pretty good. I mean, I didn't have any like huge issues with it that I remember. Um, but nothing about it like really stood out as anything special to me either. It just was kind of there. At least that's the impression it's left off after the time I've seen it. I don't remember exactly my initial thoughts on it, but that's kind of what I'm feeling as of current. It's okay. It's serviceable, but nothing that great. Hopefully this one is a little better, and we've got plenty more in the franchise to go down, so we'll see how it goes. But before we begin this, I do want to real quick mention that we have a lot of other great content on the channel for you to check out. Between Monday and Friday, there's a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube, or at least YouTube adjacent reactions. Shorts, specials, mini series that don't quite fit in with the amount of episodes to a normal series reaction. Basically anything that doesn't quite fit into a normal series or a movie reaction goes in that slot. And speaking of movie reactions, we do have those as well every Saturday and Sunday, just like the one you're watching now. And those are pre recorded during the week but uploaded on the weekend so that every day has something going for it. We also have a couple Let's Plays currently going on the channel. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we're playing through Spider Man 2. Really been enjoying that, but if you're new to checking out the series, I would just warn you that the first 9 parts, especially parts 5 through 9, have some audio issues that I just was not able to fix in post because I didn't even notice them until after I had already recorded, and it's like, a desync issue, not really much I can work with there. But parts 10 and on are all fixed and should be good. Keep in mind, it is my first time doing a capture card Let's Play for the PS5 or otherwise. So I had some new stuff to get used to with that. Also, on Saturdays, we have Anno Mutationum. This is a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. And if you want to know how to donate for future PS5 Let's Plays, check out the most recent video I put up regarding the subject, which is a kind of duo topic video. It's called June Double Reward Month, but it also has PS5 listed in the title. So if you do a channel search, you should be able to find it with, if you just put June Double Reward Month and PS5 in the search bar, you should be able to find it with ease. And it'll tell you everything you need to know regarding how to donate for a PS5 Let's Play. So, that all being said, though, let us get this going and see what Annabelle has in store for us today. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction because, yes, we do redirect all of our reactions on this channel. You know how YouTube's copyright system can be. It's quite honestly shit. So because of that, to avoid any possible channel strikes or even worse, channel termination, which I've dealt with before, don't want to deal with again, we push all of the content, all of the reactions to another site. I know you don't want to go through all the extra clicks to get to the reaction. You'd rather it just be on this video, but it's just one extra click. And honestly, it's all good. It's not that big of a deal. It leads you right to where you need to go, and you get to enjoy the reaction through that. And on the plus side, every single one of you gets to see the full unedited reaction completely free. No paywalls, no Patreon, and you don't even have to sync up your own copy. I think that's pretty great because not every reactor has the availability to do that for various reasons. But you are able to see the full unedited reaction completely free just by clicking that little link in the description below. Just one link takes you right to the reaction. And that being said, it's, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. That being said, crap. I lost my train of thought exactly where I was going to go with that. That happens sometimes where my mind just blanks out. I was talking about, like, and after you watch the reaction, you can come back to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will not only contain spoilers to the movie, but will also just give my general thoughts on it, how it connects to the first one, and just possibly some various things on the channel and content coming in the future and whatnot. It's always worth checking out. I would definitely suggest doing so. But for the time being, we're going to get into this. So thank you all so much, as always, for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So maybe it's just because I've seen too many movies at this point. But this movie, like, it's not that great. It's honestly very generic and bland. And I mean this as in, it's not like bad. Nothing about it is actively bad, but it's so tropey that it's not funny. And I know that the entire Annabelle story is based off of a real life thing and all. And maybe some of this was like based on accounts from the real life Warrens and the actual story of Annabelle, but it is the most bland, generic ass haunting shit ever. Like, I would say even more so than The Conjuring. it's like every trope in the book is used here. And they do get around a couple of tropes, a couple of ideas of like what would naturally happen, but not by much. And not to a point where it's like it excuses the rest of the movie from being so heavily like stuffed with them. It's like every little thing that you expect about this is basically how it happens. Now, one of my biggest questions though from this movie was, okay, so is it actually Annabelle Higgins, or is it a demon? Because that was kind of left unclear there. Um the father was saying that Annabelle's ghost like couldn't exist, and that it basically wasn't her, and that it was just a demon and everything. But it's like it took the form of Annabelle and stuff. I mean, I guess the demon could do that. That's kind of the only resolution I could find with this. Because I wasn't gonna look it up because I didn't want spoilers for any other Annabelle movie or anything. Um, I kind of have to assume that in the end it was just the demon um, pretending to be Annabelle. In which case, the actual Annabelle Higgins is dead and gone. But then, like, how does the doll get known as Annabelle? Because the Warrens know the doll is Annabelle, right? I mean, I guess they might have like found out like where it initially came from, but it's like because at the end of this we see it's like the family we were following is they survive, everything is good, they are no longer being attacked by the demon, and the doll has moved on. The demon possessed doll has moved on to like this thrift store or whatever, and is sold to this old woman who gets it for her nurse child granddaughter, who we see at the beginning of the movie and everything. So it's like I guess the Warrens would have just tracked it backwards and eventually found out about Annabelle Higgins and stuff. I don't know. That's the only thing that I can kind of think of, because it's like otherwise how would they know it's named Annabelle? And technically the doll was never known as Annabelle in this movie. Again, Annabelle was the cult girl who we assumed at first had possessed the doll, but again, apparently that's not the case. Um, it seems like from what I've gathered, um, Annabelle Higgins was part of this cult, the Cult of the Lamb or whatever it was called. Cult of the Lamb, good game. It was something like that. It was Ram, I think, something like that. Um, but she like ran away to become part of this cult from her family, and and used this like kind of Manson family attack thing, because it's very Manson family. Because I believe this actually happened with the real Manson family, who like would go around just attacking people like this in their houses and stuff. And considering the Manson family was directly mentioned in this movie, I honestly thought that that's what it was going for, but no, it's just I guess a different cult. um, but yeah, she comes back, kills her parents with her boyfriend, and they then go and attack the neighbors who were kind of snooping around and everything. And when she's locked herself in with the doll in the one room, the baby's room, Annabelle commits suicide, slitting her throat after like writing this sigil on the wall, this demonic sigil. I'm assuming that with her suicide, she summoned the demon, and that's when it took like possession of the doll. She like summoned it into the doll as she was holding it. And so um maybe because she was the one who summoned the demon with her death, that's why the demon took her form, I guess. Obviously, if things are revealed in future movies with this franchise, do not like spoil anything for me. By the way, um, because like I'm just going based off what I've seen here. But yeah, um, most of the scares in this were just so boring, honestly. Because it's like I've seen them a million times in so many things. There are a lot of jump scares in this. Um, but the most effective ones were the quiet ones, the ones that weren't accompanied by loud, raucous music and were instead like almost silent, even. Those were the best scares. The entire like things about like, oh, the demon jumping out at people with the loud musical cues and stuff, it's like that's not scary. And I believe I said in the reaction, and I've said it before, but jump scares can be effective. They just weren't here. Honestly, they were more annoying than anything. Also, the doll, like outside of being the conduit for the demon, really isn't a focus in the movie. Like it's more on the demon itself, weirdly enough. Annabelle is just kind of like a piece of set dressing almost, rather than actually like being the active threat. And I know it's like it's hard to make a doll the active threat, but still. I was hoping for maybe a little more with the doll. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But it's like again, every kind of trope was pulled in this. They really didn't do anything unique or interesting. Um and honestly, I'm not even going to remember these characters like within a few days probably. By the time that this is actually posted, the time this is uploaded compared to when I'm recording this, I'm probably going to have forgotten their names and everything because they were boring nothing characters. Like I liked that John, the husband, was not like super dismissive of his wife, because you see that in a lot of movies and shows where it's like, oh, the wife sees something or hears something or something happens, and the husband's like dismissive about it and being like, oh no, that didn't happen, it's just in your mind, you're okay. And you only had like one part of this movie where that even kind of came up, and the rest of the time he was extremely trusting and believing in her and everything. So I do kind of appreciate that. But it's like these characters are just so bland. They're not memorable. They're not interesting. I don't care. I kind of said it in the reaction when I said the true MVP is Evelyn. I wasn't joking. She's the best character in this by far, because she's the only character I actually felt like had much character to her. Her backstory with her daughter and everything was far more interesting than most of the stuff with Mia and John. And her sacrifice at the end was honestly beautiful. It sucked, but it was beautiful. And it tied into a big theme, recurring vocalized theme of the movie of like self sacrifice and all. So, really interesting that she's the best character in this. Has maybe three scenes worth of screen time, and is like not given the chance to shine compared to these milk toast main characters. Um, I almost kind of wish John was a little more dismissive, because at least then he'd have more personality. Like Jesus, I know it's 1967 in this movie, but come on, people have personality then, right? I don't know if it was the actors or if it was just they weren't directed well or whatnot. I don't know, but we needed different actors, I think. And it's especially wild to have a movie be this trope heavy in 2014. Like if this movie came out in the 80s, it would fit with how many tropes and like overly generic scares it uses. But in 2014, it's like, come on, you're better than this. Right? I don't know. Like I said, it's not like outright bad. I want to make that clear. Like I've seen plenty of horror movies that I would say are outright bad. This is just generic and boring. It wasn't entertaining, it wasn't interesting, and honestly some parts were a little confusing. Also, did those kids even exist? I'm kind of questioning that. Because you have these two kids on the stairwell, and it's like, oh, they're acting like kids, drawing and everything. The brother is telling his sister not to talk to strangers. It sounds like a normal thing. And then later, like I don't know, 10 minutes later, 10-15 minutes later in the movie, like the Mia is coming home with her daughter and everything, and now all of a sudden there's these creepy ass pictures. They talk about talking, finding and talking to their parents, but they never actually do, and nothing is ever brought up about these kids again. Did the kids even exist, or was this another thing from the demon? I mean, I believe that the pictures, the drawings were from the demon, but did the kids ever actually exist? I don't know, because it's not clear on that. Like, I don't know. This movie just, it felt like it played it safe. I guess that's a good way to put it. It played it safe by using every trope in the book and just not really trying to do anything unique or interesting. And I don't know if the directors and writers were just afraid to branch out because they were afraid people wouldn't like hook into it that much if they branched out too far. But it's like, I don't know, man. I just, maybe it's me, but it felt so boring because of just, it didn't surprise me at all. Like what is this? What do people think of this movie? Let me look this up real quick. Annabelle film. Because I thought this movie was pretty well received. I know obviously there's this entire franchise of movies and everything, but I want to see how it actually like fared in critical response. Oh, really? Annabelle received generally negative review. I am actually surprised at that. I've heard like very positive discussion about this movie. Maybe I've just heard like a small group of people who are just louder. On Rotten Tomatoes, as always, take that with a grain of salt. It has a 28% rating based on 137 reviews. The critical consensus reads Annabelle borrows unabashedly from better horror films. Absolutely. Wow, I'm agreeing with Rotten Tomatoes on something. That's rare. Content to leave viewers with a string of cheap jolts that fail to build on the far more effective The Conjuring. I think The Conjuring was pretty mid too, but it was definitely better than this. I will agree on that. I was not the biggest fan of The Conjuring. Um, Frank Scheck of The Hollywood Reporter criticized the film for its cheap production and screenplay, but was positive towards the performances of the cast. Really? Why? That was one of my issues. Saying the film is ultimately so scary and formulaic that you won't forget. It's not scary though. It's formulaic, but Let me see here. Yeah, it's weird that it says generally negative reviews, but every review mentioned here is positive. And then it has like a list of like nominations and even won awards. Like the Annabelle doll won Best Horror Character at the iHorror Awards and stuff. It's like, why was this nominated for so many like Best Horror Film Awards and shit? Like, what the hell? I don't know. But apparently, it is actually pretty surprisingly panned. Again, I must have just heard most the loud fans of the movie. Because I've heard almost only positive stuff, just in the the typical social media sphere of things. I've only really ever heard positive stuff about this movie. So it's really surprising to me that apparently it's mostly viewed negatively. I'm actually surprised that I'm not the odd one out here. Usually I am. Hell, with The Conjuring, I was. With The Conjuring, again, I was like, I'm not so keen on it. I think, again, it's better than this, and it has definitely a lot of better moments and better actors and stuff. But it's still, like, just kind of in terms of horror films. But it's definitely still better than this. If I would give, like, maybe I'd give The Conjuring maybe a 6 out of 10. This would probably be like a straight 5. Just so middle of the road. No, 4.5. It's not entirely bad, but it's still less than like mid because of how tropey it is. And like that consensus read, it's like it definitely just takes all of these tropes and ideas from just honestly better horror films. It's like, yeah, I'd say probably a 4.5 out of 10, which for me, it's like it's below average, but I wouldn't say quite bad yet. I'd say a 4.5 is below average. Not bad, but below average for sure. And yeah, comparatively, I would put probably The Conjuring at a 6, which is like, above average, but not that great either. um, yeah, it's just this one didn't impress me, and that's gonna happen. Hopefully, future movies in this franchise get much better and more creative and unique with their scares and their characters and everything, because it definitely needs to. This movie just left me wanting for, better horror. Like, I'll take the Terrifier movies over this any day. But then again, I'll take the Terrifier movies over most things any day. That's like one of my favorite horror franchises, so hey. That's maybe not the best comparison. um, so yeah. Obviously tell me your thoughts, but if you like this, that's great. I'm happy you did. But I just didn't. It wasn't for me. Before we close this out, though, I do want to really quickly remind you that we have a lot of great content on the channel outside of just this. Every Monday through Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions for you to check out. And on Mondays, we also do YouTube, or at least YouTube adjacent reactions. Anything that doesn't quite fit into a full series or movie reaction goes there. And speaking of movie reactions, we have those every Saturday and Sunday, just like this one that you just watched. Um, we record those during the week, but upload on the weekend, so that every day has something going on. We're also currently doing a couple of Let's Plays on the channel. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we're playing through Spider-Man 2, and every Saturday, we're playing through Anno Mutationum. Anno Mutationum is also a donation reward Let's Play for Matthew Vasquez. If you want to know how to donate for future PS5 Let's Plays, check out the video on the channel titled June Double Reward Month, but also search up PS5 with that, because if you search up June Double Reward Month PS5, you'll find the exact correct video without any trouble. And that will allow you to be able to know exactly what you need to do in order to donate for a future Let's Play. But all of that being said, like I said, do not spoil me for the future of this franchise. But let me know your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.